All right, let's see if it'll work. It's probably going to work because I didn't have it on this camera, which is pretty stupid. I don't understand why it would do that, but hopefully it works. You guys should be able to hear me now. All right, well, welcome to episode 35, Secret of the Unknown. I appreciate you guys for being here and joining me along on this episode. We're going to be talking about interdimensional beings and the correlation between these interdimensional beings. What are they? Where do they come from? How do we know that it is actually what we're seeing, if it is true? Yeah. So the one thing that I want to start off by saying is this. One thing that got me fascinated with this was my obsession with, like I said, starting this podcast and getting into talking about the unknown, getting into UFOlogy, ancient civilizations, ancient culture, and just wanting to know more and the research with not only just because of my own personal experiences with seeing things or experiencing things, but because it was like always the drive for me to think, okay, well, there's something else going on. There's more to this story that we're not being told. I know there's a lot of people out there that think the same thing. Well, what is really happening? What is really going on with our universe, our world, with the things that are happening? Not only just recently, I mean, it seems like everywhere you turn now, it seems like everybody's getting these videos of these UFOs, these creatures, these beings, whatever you want to call them, and trying to figure out where these things are coming from. Now, the interdimensional being aspect of getting in this, in this podcast, what I wanted to focus on was the dimension thing. I know I've talked about this in another episode, where we touched on the aspect of the portals that have been opened up around the world. We know of some in South America, we know of some in Europe, we know of some in Egypt, we know of some in Asia. It seems like a lot of these ancient portals that have been identified, that we know of, these gateways, through ancient texts or ancient proverbs, seems to be a starting point for the witnessing of these interdimensional beings, these beings that are somehow traversing through dimensions, gateways from these other dimensions. We talked about last time about the multi-dimension, the multiverse, how scientists have indeed said that there is more than one. We ourselves as three-dimensional beings live on a three-dimensional plane, but there are actually multiple levels beyond this dimension that we do not see, but have experienced it by seeing things such as these alien beings or these beings from these other dimensions that somehow slip through to ours dimension through these gateways or these portals. People seeing spirits or ghosts or witnessing phenomena that is happening in our dimension on a different vibration that we are not able to see or experience, is a theory of explaining why it is that we have things like paranormal activity or sightings of these things that we see out of the corner of our eyes, or witnessing phenomena that is happening that we can't explain within our own dimension or our own realm. So I'm going to play a clip real quick from a show called Gaia. I don't know if you've ever seen it. If you haven't, I highly recommend that you watch it because it is very informative. I love it. It's a great show. And what the heck? Sorry. But yeah, let's take a look at it and listen to what they have to say about it. All right, here we go. Shut this off.
They seem to appear, again, in ways that our brains can accept. We hear stories about them appearing like a giant bumblebee or a giant fish or a being with blue skin or pink skin or green skin. So the perception of directly related to the ability of the individual to perceive them.
1 in 5 Americans believe that humanity has been visited by aliens. Yet how sure that all of these visitations originate from up there? From the thousands of reports from people who claim to have had direct contact with some kind of anomalous entity, what is the possibility that some of these close encounters are actually interactions with beings from other dimensions?
When an interdimensional being enters our dimension, he falls under the laws of our three-dimensional reality. People report ghosts being seen when they're really these interdimensional beings.
If interdimensional entities are interacting with humanity, what might be their intentions in doing so?
I love this show. It's great.
Energy healer and host of Quantum Effect, Randy Weitenheimer, has experience in interactions with other dimensions. Combining his background in physics with his many years studying Chinese martial arts and Kundalini energy practices, Randy concludes that the nature of these interdimensional interactions is based on our own consciousness.
Ghosts, spirit attachments, entities are independent, non-physical consciousness that are created. For example, let's say you want to connect with your spirit guide. You're meditating in zero reality, and you ask to have that spirit guide come forward. The being that comes forward is a real presence or information body in zero reality, and it is interpreted by yourself based on this physical world. It is real over there, but interpreted by you as a physical reality here and now.
The theory of multiple parallel universes is a hotly debated topic within the realm of quantum physics. Everything from their mathematical explanation to the number of differing universes within the multiverse have been discussed. Except in and of itself is backed up with good physics.
We've learned that string theory provides some exciting and beautiful possibilities for discovering a unified theory of everything. And string theory is what has opened the door to the multiverse idea in science. How did it do that? Well, it goes back to the issue that string theorists are grappling with, the challenge of identifying the exact geometry of the superstrings and extra dimensions hidden within our universe. We have many candidate shapes allowed by the math, over 10 to the power 500 possibilities, which is a massive number. String theorists have instead proposed that all of these possibilities are equally probable and likely exist somewhere within a multiverse. meaning there are at least 10 to the power 500 differently tuned universes out there in the multiverse, maybe even infinite numbers.
If the existence of other dimensions is plausible, then wouldn't the idea of beings inhabiting that space be just as legitimate? So, what are these beings? Do they have purely benevolent reasons for interacting with humanity? People who have claimed the ability to channel from other dimensions believe these beings are here to help guide us towards a positive life experience.
Ariane came and said, we'd like for you to channel us directly. And because our information can be helpful to humanity at this time. And they even said, you know, humanity's on a trajectory, they're on a timeline that is now, our information can be more helpful. We have moved beyond density and we bridge back and forth between non-locality and enough density to be able to communicate. From our standpoint, we are no longer in physical form, and even our densest nature does not hold physical separation.
These beings are known in our realities like the masters and guides of every dimension. What they do is to resonate to the system of the matter all the process of creation to help us understand which ways we can take in order to be in the same level of vibration as them. So even the darkness ones and the light ones, they are living patterns to us so we could reach and understand how we can build a good reality and how we can transcend the reality we live in.
The role that many of us in this collective have is energy balancing. So we are assigned, several of us, to bring back certain points on the Earth and other planets. That is our role. There are many who will say that Earth is, shall we say, turbulent or a little bit of a volcano in waiting. That is not actually how we see things on Earth. You are coming to this culmination theory, which will take place between 2030 and 2050. And that will be when it opens up as a human planet.
If interdimensional entities exist that wish to help give to humanity, is it possible that beings from other realms also wish to take from? Randy Weitenheimer theorizes about the nature of such beings.
These forms do not generally share or exist in our physical reality. Spirit attachments are in a different dimension that attach to you because we have energy and they need energy. This is the underlying basis for the interaction. They are not actually giving you information like the entities, but more taking of your energy. Ghosts are not exactly non-physical. People that are alive might be sending information or energy to the person that has passed, and that might energize them to come into the physical form.
It would seem the importance of inviting only those higher vibrational energies into your life cannot be overstated. When interactions with interdimensional beings occur, having control over that which positively enriches your life is a recommended approach.
I teach that you should not put your energy towards non-physical beings and instead focus on internally knowing who you are and being yourself. This will keep you safe and create trust within yourself.
How much influence might we assume is directed from interdimensional entities? Cause for concern from these interactions.
Their ability to influence and affect us has a lot to do with what we believe their ability to affect us is. So if we believe they have an effect on us, then they can affect us. If we believe they don't have an, to not.
So it's our thinking and our belief systems that actually become our own reality when we're visualizing.
More than anything else, yes. I think our experience tells us that most of them are beneficial. Most of them are basically trying to help and cooperate, and that 5% that just is trying to, cause trouble.
If the majority of interdimensional beings guide us in positive ways, what is the message they are trying to deliver?
These beings have a lot of information and a lot of access to information that they want to share, and they're encouraging us to understand as well. So yeah, truth.
It would seem that the influence interdimensional beings have over humanity, own perception and consciousness. If we are to resonate with the guidance from beings who wish to help, we must first recognize when we are being led astray by negative entities. Perhaps with a cautioned approach to further exploration and contact with interdimensional beings, we may learn the secrets of our own universe and beyond.
Cool stuff. I love it. Like I said, it's just one of those things where we, as humanity, in seeing and experiencing the things that we are on this plane of existence, how is it that we are being influenced by these things that are not actually of this realm? It's like, if we have control over what we are experiencing, how is it that these beings are able to get control if it's us who's in control? That has a lot, I guess, if that makes sense. I was looking through some government documentation. There is actually some articles from the NSA security office and the CIA on communications with extraterrestrial intelligence and the binary communications that have been used in the past and that we have been using since the 60s to speak or communicate or get messages from these other dimensions. There has been a lot of communication, I guess, with these other dimensions, and coding that has been sent back from these other dimensions between our dimension and these extraterrestrial beings from these other dimensions. And it says, last November, a group of scientists at Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico sent a 3-minute message beam to Messier 13, and these represented man's first attempt to take the initiative in communication with other civilizations. The project was conducted by the National Astronomy Ionosphere Center, which operates the Arecibo Observatory for Cornell University and the National Science Foundation. Messier 13 is a cluster of 300,000 stars on the edge of the Milky Way, 24,000 light years away. So if this message is received and answered promptly, unless we happen to hit them on one of their 3-day holidays, we should have their answer within 48,000 light years, give or take a few days or so. The messaging that they're sending to these other planets and these other constellations in order to communicate with them. But as you heard, some of these scientists were talking about the resonation of elevating our vibrations, or when we meditate, being able to put our energy, raising our frequencies within ourselves. A lot of people don't tend to understand or realize that we as human beings are frequency antennas that are able to broadcast or receive communications through these dimensional portals. Um, and this is a lot, I guess, a way of um, communicating directly with these other dimensions, or through these dimensional gateways through the mind. And that's why I think that some people are more in tune with speaking or seeing or experiencing a lot of things, um, because they are at a different frequency or a different vibrational level. And as I said before, this was something that was always really, really intriguing to me, because when I started doing my meditations, and just really getting in tune and just like realizing the level of what we are capable as human beings of being able to do on that plane of existence in this dimension to other dimensions, it really made me realize and see that um, there's something to this. And it isn't something that was just like, you know, oh, this just happened, people are just catching on to this, and it's a new age thing. No, this is something that has really been going on for a long time. And I'm talking about going back into ancient Vedic um, uh, texts, where they talk about um, the human body being an antenna, and our mind's eye being the gateway to being able to communicate, receiving and sending messages, and our spirit body being able to leave if people are really in tune to these frequencies, and being able to hone their senses into these frequencies, and being able to see into other dimensions. Um, it really fascinated me, like I said, because it was like, okay, is this something that people subconsciously do? Is this what happens when we dream and we have these dreams of seeing or experiencing these things that we can't remember? But then we get like a deja vu-ish sense of, oh, I've seen this before, you know? Um, and I think that for some people is the case, because I've had that instance where I'm like, I've seen this before, or I have dreams of something and I'll write it down, and it will happen later on. I'll remember it. Um, and um, the whole thing with these interdimensional, um, I guess I want to say, not um, beings per se, but just other dimensional aspects of the mind. Um, I know, like I said, ever since I've started doing this whole thing of meditating and being able to tap into these types of frequencies, and trying to hone my spirit into being able to be still and be quiet and focus my energy the way I need it to be, seeing, experiencing, and feeling certain things that have happened, um, is I guess happened more of an on a has elevated, been able to elevate myself a little bit more. I know that there are stories of people who have been in military situations where they have experienced these interdimensional or multidimensional beings, that have shown themselves to people, and people could not explain it because they did not think what they were seeing was real because of the way they appeared to them. I know in the article I was reading earlier, um, a scientist was talking about what are extraterrestrial beings or um, multi extra dimensional beings. Uh, Imagine a dimension as a way of plotting your exact location in the universe, like coordinates on a map, which makes sense. Let's say you make an arrangement to meet your friend. You'll meet on the Sunset Road, which is one coordinate, Block 57, which is the second, on the third floor, which is the third. And to tell your friend where exactly to meet you, you plot long length, width, and height. But we still need a fourth coordinate, time. Unless you tell your friend when you want to meet, chances are that they will never meet you, right? Therefore, we need all four coordinates to understand exactly where something is located. Before we can move on to extra-dimensional beings, let's imagine being a dimension lower than our own. So we ourselves are three-dimensional beings. You know, I can see my whole hand, right? It's not just, you can't see the bottom of my hand, or, exactly the top. It's not a two-dimension, it's three. All right. So he gives an image of a drawing of a man he calls Dennis. Imagine there is a being that lives in less dimension than us. Let's just say 2. Length and width. I am not sure that is even possible to exist at time, but for the sake of this example, imagine it. Let's just imagine that there's two-dimensional beings living on your desk. We call him 2D Dennis. 2D Dennis can go forward and backwards, side to side. He cannot go up or down. Before him, if I were to come from above and put my finger in his path, he would have absolutely no way of preempting such a move, as he is incapable of looking up. To him, it would seem like this finger in his path were something unexplainable, supernatural, or even divine. The same way I put my finger in his path, I can also remove it, and again, he will have no clue where it went or from whence it came, because he cannot look up. The up we cannot see. From the explanation of above, just a simple movement on our behalf could mean something supernatural for little 2D Dennis. Now imagine that there is an up that we can't see in our world. As mentioned earlier, we live in a 3-dimension of space and time, or dimension of space and one of time. We have 100% control over our spatial dimensions. We can move at will. However, we have access to time in the words of Dr. Neil Tyson, and we are all prisoners of the present, forever transitioning from our own past into an unknown future. Remember how easily we were able to interact with Mr. 2D Dennis without him knowing who we were or how we got there? What if there was a being that poked his finger into our path of time as easily as we put our finger on the path of 2D Dennis? These extra-dimensional beings, if there was a being in a higher dimension than us, not only would they be able to enter in and out of our realm at will, we would have zero ability to even begin to perceive their existence. And again, let's say that we have the ability to move about through time as easily as we move about through space. Now that would be a being of unfathomable power, because they would know the future. 2D Dennis thinks that we are beings of unfathomable power as well. So the human metamorphosis, the idea of an extra dimensional being, could give explanation to anything from angels to demons, to people accidentally stepping in time warps. But how about the ghosts that resemble our loved ones who have passed away? This is good stuff. This is something that just came to me. He is going to give a theory. He says, what if life as we know it is just the beginning of life? Now, this is a theory that we can see in ancient Egypt. This is one thing that they've always talked about, is that life is one realm. Death is the next realm of life, where we move from this 3D dimension of what we see here and now into the next dimension. So he says, what if life as we know it is just the beginning of life, and death is not the end at all? It is merely a metamorphosis whereby we break out of the cocoon of our physical body, and our spirit, soul, or whatever emerges as a higher dimensional being to join the world which we know not of. This is not to say that everything in the higher dimension is ex-human. Just as a butterfly becomes from a caterpillar, but not everything that flies is an ex-caterpillar, which makes sense. So there may be beings that live in a dimension higher than us. We may join that dimension when our physical body dies, and many other beings also live in that dimension that were likely never part of our own dimension. So in turn, it makes sense that if we die and we leave this dimension, we're joining all these other beings that are of that dimension, but we're not in turn from ours. Which is pretty crazy to think of, because it pretty much is what he's saying is pretty much what ancient civilizations and ancient cultures talk about. The afterlife, or the world of the dead, or the life beyond. So I think that this guy is onto something. And like I said, I talked about this in the last podcast, where we were discussing multiverses, and there being multiple dimensions of reality that we do not comprehend, that we know is there. We just can't fathom that reality of those other dimensions, because we are not at that vibrational level. So these interdimensional beings that are able to cross through into our dimension, like he was saying in this theory, that, you know, on a 2D surface, if we are that 2D Dennis in a 3D world that we are now, and these beings are being able to come through these planes of existence through these portals or these means that we cannot fathom, would that be something like what we're seeing with ghosts, spirits, or things that we see that happen around us that cannot be explained? Poltergeist activity, things moving and interacting with us that we can't see, but there's something that's there, but we don't know what it is. Shadow people. We know that there's something there, but when you turn the light on, it's gone. Turn it off and it's there. Is that something that we see as being interdimensional beings? Could that be one explanation of what it could be? I think that's what it means. That's the question. That's the thought that I'm getting at here is, what is it that we are seeing or experiencing through these multidimensional realities? What is it? So, yeah, if you have an idea or you have your thoughts on this, it would be cool to hear them. There's many thoughts of what these things could be, and like we were watching on the video through Gaia, is um, what is it about these vibrations that we're seeing um, that we cannot, there's some of these things coming through and trying to help us and interact with us and helping humanity. Progress in a way that is going to benefit and lead humanity down a road that is going to progress us spiritually, or um, technical advancements, um, that is going to benefit not only society but humankind all over the planet. Um, is this something that is going to benefit us in the long run? I guess only time will tell. Well, it's quiet today. Nobody's on. All right. Well, like I said, I just wanted to bring this up to talk about it with everybody, or get everybody's ideas and thoughts on what they think, or their ideas on what these interdimensional beings are, or if anybody has ever seen something. Feel free to go ahead and chime in. Let me know if you want to get on. You're more than welcome to. But yeah, you guys please feel free to comment on the comment section if you guys want to. It's up to you. It's quiet in here. Oh man. Hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Oh man. But one thing that I noticed when I experienced something along those lines of not understanding or not realizing what something is or what it could be, it's like, okay, what was that? Seeing something out of the corner of my eye, or experiencing something that I'm not sure if I saw what I saw, if that was real. But that in and of itself makes it one of those things where it's, it pushes me to look into it. What was I seeing? What did I see? Has there ever been anybody else that's ever seen anything else like this? Has anybody else experienced something like this? That's the question that I want to put out there today. Has anybody else ever seen this? Anything? Has anybody ever seen something unknown? experienced something, I don't know, seen something that you couldn't explain, that you thought, and I say, something weird, but it's just one of those things where it's like, it's weird to us because we can't explain it. I don't know what the hell it is. I can't explain it. And that's exactly what it means. Unknown, unexplained. But it seems like there is something there. There is something that is multi-dimensional that we probably will never, ever, I won't say ever, because ever is a pretty harsh word, but it will be a while before we can harness the ability, unless we all come together collectively as human beings and are able to harness that mindset together and collectively becoming unified spiritually on a higher vibration of being able to consciously you know be able to interact openly with whatever these beings are. And I think that, like you said, a lot of these beings do seem like they are trying to interact with a lot of people who are raising their vibration, or raising their knowledge and understanding mentally and spiritually, to be able to think outside of this matrix, um, uniformity that we've been established into for so long, that all of those this stuff is not real, it doesn't happen, it's not true. Ever since we've just been brainwashed into believing this for so long, a lot of us who have decided to break of this norm of saying, hey, there is something going on that I have felt all my life, and this does not seem normal, doesn't seem right. And we, the ones who are trying to establish that outer normal, experience or reality of what is, that we've always known or come to realize, I know, like I said, I know from my own personal experience, have experienced and encountered things that I can't explain. I can't. Does that mean that it's not real? No. It just means that I can't explain what I saw or what was going on. I have talked to other people who have experienced seeing or witnessing or encountering or dealing with things that was unexplainable. And that is where it comes to this point where we're like, okay, if you have an encounter or something that you can't explain, that's why I would like, I have, this podcast, is I'd like to be able to have people who are out there that watch the show come on and talk about this stuff. So I'm going to open up the, I posted in the comment section of the podcast. So if you would like, hit the link. All right. I'm going to post it right here. I'll let you guys see it so you can see it. Go ahead and click on that. I will get back to you and bring you on. If you want to talk about something that's happened to you or you've experienced, we can get on here and talk about it. Because like I said, I would like to be able to give people the chance to be able to say, oh man, Me too. You know, so if you've ever experienced something and you'd like to come on and share your experience, please do click on link like I said before, and we'll bring you on, and you can share your experience with everybody online. Let's see here. Let me bring this on real quick. But like I said, I mean, if there's anybody that's ever had these experiences where they've witnessed any interdimensional things or something that they can't explain, um, seeing something, experience something, having vivid dreams or nightmares where something is interacting with you, or you know, driving, or you were camping, or you were out somewhere and you can't explain something, but you don't really understand or know what it could be. Like I said, get on the link, hit it up. We'll bring you on if you want to talk about it, and we will we'll let you share your experience. But let me share this real quick about these interdimensional portals, and we'll get back to that and see if anybody wants to come on.
2020, ancient astronaut theorist William Henry, along with author and historian Dustin F.,
But it's down this path here.
set out to explore a series of lava tubes known as Pluto's Cave, several miles north of Mount Shasta.
That is just spectacular.
It is here where numerous eyewitnesses claim to have encountered mysterious beings, as well as seen evidence of possible interdimensional portals. Pluto's Cave is one of several natural wonders known as lava tubes that crisscross the region.
Mount Shasta is a volcano. So volcanic lava, when you have fast flowing lava and it cools on the surface of the flow, so it actually crushed, but the lava continues to flow in the middle and it forms literally a tube.
Check it out, man.
So the reason why I'm showing this is because a supposed dimensional portal that was found or uncovered here. So we'll see what they got to show or what they're going to talk about.
Awesome. Awesome. Most all of the mythology and legends around the place, it all takes place underground in caves and around the area. If you ever be able to look underground, you would just see tunnels radiating out in every direction. There are actually native authored stories that you could travel clear into Oregon completely.
Yeah. Look at that, Dustin. That beautiful skylight.
There's a really big subculture here in Mount Shasta that has always believed that these caves and tunnels contain civilization full of people just like you and I, and they come back and forth through portals hidden in these caves. I've had people actually contact me and tell me they've seen people in this very cave walk right into a wall and vanish.
What were these people like? What did they look like?
Look just like us. It's how they're able to travel back and forth and mingle with humans.
Wow.
One of the most famous reports of a being emerging from within Mount Shasta was made in 1930 by Guy Warren Ballard. Ballard, a mining engineer who worked in the area, claimed he was surveying the slopes of the mountain when he encountered a mysterious glare.
Guy reported that when he was hiking on Mount Shasta in the early 1930s, he encountered some extraordinary, mysterious teacher which he later identified as the ascended master.
This is a radiant being dressed in white. Get into a long conversation, and this guru, this otherworldly character, teaches Ballard the secrets of enlightenment.
For ancient astronaut theorists, Ballard's description of a radiant being is reminiscent of accounts from ancient times of similarly.
All right, so I wanted to share. Hey, how's it going, Steve? I have heard something on it. I am not totally familiar with it. Welcome, man. Wichita, Kansas. Good stuff. Yeah, like I said, the one thing that I've heard about the ribbon floating thing, the only thing that I've ever heard of is when I've researched or I've looked into Dolores Cannon talking about when astral projecting, that we are connected at a strand to our astral bodies, that we're connected if we have not died, and we are just projecting ourselves into this other realm, that we are connected by a silver thread or a golden thread, which goes back into what is in like ancient mythological stories where, you know, your life tie or your life strand is cut when you die, and once it is cut, then your spirit body is separated from your natural body. But other than that, I mean, I haven't really heard anything about these yellow glowing eyed beings while projecting during astral projection. But that is something, let me look at them, write that down. Yellow eyed beings. But yeah, I mean, let me open this up real quick. I'll put it up here. Let me bring you on, man. Here, let me do. Click on this, man, and then I'll, you know, if you want to come on, you can, and we'll talk about it. But as I said before, you know, when they talk about the whole, as you heard, there has been many instances and many accounts of people who have interacted with these beings, have interacted through these portals or these gateways or these multi-dimensional entrances to these other places. I mean, heck, even in the missing 411, you have people that are through these dimensions, and we can't explain why. Various points on the earth that just disappear. Now, is it the same way with these beings that are above 4 or above 3 dimensions that we can't see or we cannot naturally you know, explain with our logical 3D minds and our 3D eyes, that we can't, you know, because it's something that is happening that we just explain it away because we just either don't want to explain it because it's outside of our realm of logic. I guess, you know, is what I'm trying at, is that, you know, if it's something that is not rational, it is something that is not real. And it's explained away through religion. It's explained away through, you know, natural scientific methods, that if it does not exist in this plane, or it is not what I can see, taste, touch, or hear, then it is not natural. It is not real. But if you look at the different accounts, like they were showing Shasta Mountain, of these beings that are being seen in these cave systems, traversing back and forth through these dimensions, is it not the same for these beings that we encounter, like Steve is talking about, through astral projection or through meditation, or these beings who attempt to come through possibly by doing whatever they're doing in their dimensions and seeing and experiencing and interacting with us on this dimension? It seems like there is a lot more questions than there is answers, because I guess we probably will not know unless, the time comes when we pass on and we get our answers. But for a lot of people that do experience or do um, deeply connect through forms of meditation, through astral projection, um, that we are able to traverse through and in between and talk with or interact with these entities that are at a multi-dimensional capability. The theory is that there are multiple dimensions. There's at least 11 that we know of, and this is something that has just come through science within the past couple of years, that they're saying yes, the relative theory is that there are multiple dimensions in which there's multiple realities, multiple dimensions that we are in, living different lives or living different scenarios. So in one dimension, I might be a bum, or I might be, a politician, or I might be a cook, or whatever. Whatever the scenario is in these other dimensions. Now, is that why we feel a certain way, or we experience thoughts, dreams, senses, or past life regression type scenarios? Is because of these multiple dimensions? I don't know. Those are some theories that are out there of how and why we might feel or have experiences that we do. It's because of this multiple dimension theory that exists, that we exist on multiple dimensions of reality. And we have these beings that are able to traverse through and are able to communicate and show us or interact with us because they have mastered this ability to do so. What does this mean for us as human beings now in this dimension, in this reality? Well, just like I was reading in that paperwork earlier, that if these beings that are on this fourth dimension, that are higher, that are on that different realm of reality, if they are able to come and interact with us here and now, that means that they have the ability to surpass time and space, which means they are able to move in between these dimensions at will. Now, if we were able to do these things, which some people have been throughout history and throughout time and throughout cultures, have been able to say that they are able to see, experience, interact with, and come into contact with other dimensions within the future and the past. I'm not going to say that it's not real, and I'm not going to say that it is. I say that I believe it's possible. at all means. I believe that it's possible that we are able to do these things. I'm not going to sit here and say that we are bound by this time and space. I believe that we are not able to explain things that we don't understand. And there are a lot of people that have just passed this stuff off and just, well, it's not real. I think there are a lot of things, as you've probably heard me talk about on this podcast before, many, many times, that we do not know of. There are things that we have been lied to about. I believe that the government and other entities are not willing to explain or give out that information to the public because they do not want to lose their control of this reality. And I believe that once people realize that we are the masters and the controllers of our destiny and this reality, the breaking free from what we have been told and the bonds that hold us mentally and physically, we can we will become more powerful than what we have been led to believe. I truly think that, and I think that through time, there is going to be a shift that is going to be coming where, as humanity, if we progress spiritually, we will be able to escape these bonds that hold us and experience more freely and more of the ability to understand and better uh, uh, be able to cope and deal with a lot of these things. So again, like I said, if you guys are watching this and you have questions or you want to come on and you want to be able to come on to the podcast, let me know. Let me see here. I don't think there's anybody yet who has sent me anything. Nope. Yeah, like I said, I mean, this has always been a fascination for me because of the things that I've experienced. Like I said, I don't, I can't explain it. I've had dreams of things that are coming to fruition now that I had 2 years ago. I've had dreams when I was younger of things that have happened that I couldn't explain that have happened, and I can, validify that through, my mother, who I've I always ask her, Mom, do you remember this time when I was little and I was talking to you about this, blah blah blah, and yeah, this and that, and I'm like, remember when it happened, or I saw this, or I was explaining it to you, yeah, or seeing something that I could not explain, or witnessing something that I thought I saw as a young child, and as adult now, realizing what I believe that I think I saw or experienced. But this is what I mean by what I say, the covering up by the government to distort the reality and the truth of what has been said since the dawn of time, that we as human beings, okay, believe that we are capable of so much more than what we have been led to believe throughout our humanity. I think that at the beginning of humankind, through the turn of events that we were created in the likeness of our creators, and the knowledge and who we are inherently in our DNA. We were capable at the beginning of our lives um, to be at a higher status than what we are now. I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And somewhere along the line, we were brought down because of a pissing off of the ones who created us, I guess is the easier way to say it. We hear about this through different cultures, different religions, whether it be told different ways. But these beings who came through onto this plane and have told us throughout humanity's history of the return of the ones who made us, the return of the beings who came here to this planet from the sky, from these other solar systems, from these other star clusters, and gave us this knowledge, and were able to do so by traversing through these different dimensions, and have done so throughout the history of humankind. As I said in the last podcast I just did, is that the Anasazi, prime example, they speak directly of these beings coming through these portals, giving them this knowledge and information on how to do these rituals and ceremonies, and then turning against them, which is why they ended up being stuck in a fortified position, a defensive position, trying to escape these beings who were coming through to devour them by the means of what these beings that had given them this knowledge of this witchcraft, and ended up turning it around against them, and devouring these people. We see it throughout all of humanity. I mean, it goes all the way back to the beginning. We and people that are religious, that hear about, that read the Bible in Genesis, and it talks about the fallen angels who came down onto the earth, and there was 200 of them who were cast out with Satan, and were mating with the women of the earth, and were giving mankind the ability and knowledge of things that they were not supposed to have any knowledge of. But you hear it in different variations throughout cultures. And the ancient Sumerian scribes, the scrolls, the tablets that predate Christianity by at least 5,000 years, speak of the gods Enki and Enlil, the Anunnaki gods, who came from heaven, made mankind, and gave them this ability of knowledge, which led to their destruction and their demise because of the brothers fighting between each other, speaking about how they're going to come back. Now, throughout the cultures around the world, the abilities to traverse through these stargates, these dimensional portals, were given to certain people that were entrusted by these sky gods, these beings, the multi-dimensional beings that were conversating with certain groups of people throughout time. But it wasn't just on one spot on the globe, it was on multiple different locations. We see it in Chichen Itza, we see it in Egypt, we see it in the Far East, we see it in the Middle East, We see it here in North America. These different locations were prime locations where these beings were interacting through these dimensional portals with human beings. Now, we are seeing even now in our time, because we have progressed so much and gotten farther away from who we are and what we're capable of and what we're able to do mentally, that we have relied so much on technology that we have gone farther away from the spiritual aspect of our capabilities, that we think that this stuff is just fake. This can't be real. Of course, there can't be life on other planets or other dimensional beings. That's just baloney. That's what they want you to think. I think that like I said before, it goes back to this whole cover-up thing of getting us further away from what the truth is, because if they don't let us know the truth, like I said, got, these official documents that I downloaded from the CIA talking about the communication with extraterrestrial intelligence, and NSA, that were declassified, about how they interacted with these beings through these dimensional portals. It's kind of like that movie Stargate, where if you know anything or you understand or you follow any of this stuff about these dimensional gateways, these portals that have been found all over the world, the military has always wanted to get their hands on this stuff, and they have had their hands on, they've taken control over a lot of this stuff, which is one of the reasons why we went into the Middle East back in 2002, was because they would not share with us the information and the technology that they had gathered up or found in the Middle East. They did not want to let us have any part of it because they felt that it was theirs, and they did not want to share it. There was a lot of things that were being excavated and being brought up from the Middle East that we decided, well, if you're not going to let us be in on it, we're just going to take it. That's not just my words. That's from people who are on the inside that have worked on this stuff. These whistleblowers that are saying, yes, this is exactly what happened. We found out that a lot of technology, the ability to work or progress the further technological advancements of these portals, these gateways, these dimensional ley lines, or these areas of interest that would further our knowledge of being able to interact or work through with these beings that were coming through these stargates. If you know anything about these stargates that are like wormholes to other dimensions or other planets or other galaxies, that is what was being for a long time. And I was blown away by the notion that these things were happening, and we knew about it back in the early 1900s. And doing a lot of research on that stuff was like mind-blowing to me. That time travel was also something that had been worked on and was being perfected at back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. But there were things that were being progressed from history in order for us to rightfully be where we needed to be throughout history. And it seems like along the way we were stopped by these interdimensional beings because they did not feel like we were going to be able to handle dealing with these advancements, or we were not able to be responsible enough to handle this technology, because we were just seeing. I mean, look at now. We can't get anywhere outside of a conflict without wanting to blow each other up or kill each other at some point. And it seems like that's just where we're at, where these beings are trying to stop us from becoming destructive. It seems like these beings, these interdimensional beings, are really trying to progress and help humanity the best way they can, but it seems like we always have this goal with some of these people who just do not want to spiritually and mentally progress, and are always trying to dumb down, stupefy, and be at the top, and keep the rest of us at the bottom. And it seems like if we can just go to war and just get rid of half of the human civilization, then there's a better chance that they can become empowered or in power, and not have to have a majority of a problem with dealing with the rest of us. But it seems like the more we look at what is being said at these congressional hearings, that it's like they are trying to paint this picture of these beings being malevolent, hostile. They are trying to picture them as being a threatening force to humanity. And anybody who's ever listened to the podcast here knows that I am a very firm believer in what Dr. Stephen Greer has said, and I've been following him for a long time. He's been trying to get this declassification of information for years, since the 90s. And when he headed up this movement, the one thing that he always said is that if these beings were hostile and they wished to do us any harm, and they are able to come up with the technology that is far superior to our own, what makes you think that if they wanted to do harm to us, that they would not be able to do it? If they wanted to hurt humanity, if they wanted to wipe us off of the face of the earth, or just destroy the planet, period, what makes you think that they could not do it? And it goes back to the whole thing of the deep state wanting to keep hidden or keep in control by fear, by process of fear, by process of keeping the public in the notion that these beings are going to come here, and as you see in Hollywood, and the War of the Worlds type scenario, and they're just going to start wiping everybody and vaporizing people or taking people hostage and experimenting on people. That is what they're it seems to be the notion for anything that comes of validity, and especially these interdimensional beings. It's like they want to make it a hostile thing. But in fact, if these beings if they are able to traverse through space and time at will, what is stopping them from doing anything else? What is to keep them from wanting to take over this reality if they wanted to? Nothing. Because they can leave and go whenever they want. So if they are a threat, if there is a substantial threat to humanity as a collective, as a whole, by these beings that are multi-dimensional, what are we going to do about it? Not a dang thing, because we're not even able to process that notion of being able to elevate ourselves. You know what I mean? And it's like, what is the basis of them to keep us in fear? It's the control. And I think that's what it's been all along, is the information that they have on this the reality of what is happening and what is going on is what is keeping the public in control. And by doing research and doing our due diligence and looking into this information and elevating ourselves, not only mentally but spiritually, is what is going to progress humanity. War is not the answer. War is not going to get any. Peace is the only logical way of being able to survive and sustain our cultures. By working hand in hand and being able to say that we as human beings are on this planet together and working together and being able to progress together instead of killing each other over stupid things, we are not going to progress anywhere. And it's those who are in control that hold that leash and hold that above us. And we as a people, I think, need to just come together and make this happen, where we say enough is enough. We want the truth. We know what the game is. We're not falling for it anymore. We're joining together, and we're done with all of this baloney. And I think that's what the end game is for these beings are trying to progress us and help us in dealing with and progressing us in a manner that is saying, hey, we just want to help. Here we're trying to give you knowledge and information and letting you know that there is something out that is better, that you guys can be better than what they are allowing you to be. So I think together as human beings, I think if we can manage to be able to overcome the scare tactics of what is being told to us by the government, by these in control who are trying to keep this information and this knowledge hidden from us, by all means, then I think that we can start by saying, like John Lennon said, give peace a chance. I think that's where it really starts for us to be able to, and I think we're a long ways from that, especially with everything that's going on now. I will never say never, but I will say that for those of us who have experienced the harshness of war, it is those who have never experienced or who have never tasted it that are pushing for it the most. It's something that they're just like, whatever. But the reality of what is happening now, I think that if these interdimensional beings that are trying to make contact with humans on this level, on this plane, are trying to warn us of what is coming, of what are trying to divert us from this tragedy that is happening. I think that we as human beings need to be paying attention to what is being said and what has been said in the past by the communications that have been received from these beings or these entities that have been sending a message through these interdimensional frequencies or portals, and through our ancestors. But yeah, if you guys have anything that you guys want to chime in on, please feel free to let me know. Get on the comments on YouTube or on Facebook if you guys are on the pages, and share your ideas and share your thoughts on what you think. Looks like we got some people from Facebook. I think Steve's still here on YouTube. Not sure. But yeah, Steve, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure about the ribbon floating entities. I haven't really heard anything about that. I wrote that down. I'm gonna have to check that out. Let's see what that's all about. Yeah, let me know. Chime in on the comments, man. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have ever experienced anything else with these interdimensional beings, or anything interdimensional, like, you know, going somewhere else, or traveling somewhere else, or finding yourself somewhere else, or astral projecting and being able and experiencing things that you can't explain. Because I mean, it's something that is being done, or people are progressing. Those who are awake, spiritually and mentally, that are able to do this if they hone themselves in or practice it. It seems like it's becoming a thing where people are awakening to this idea of understanding that we are more than what we have been told, as far as we're just flesh and blood and that's all there is to it. Let me overlay this real quick, see if it comes through. There it is. All right, cool. Yeah, as I said before, I have give a background on the podcast. I opened up this podcast a year ago, December 2023, because I just wanted to give a platform to be able to talk to people about a lot of this subject matter that I discuss on here. Because, you know, I know how it feels to be like, oh man, you can't talk to people, or when you try and talk to people on here or explain it to them, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, you feel like you're the outsider of the group. You know, you're at work, or you're, you know, at family gatherings or whatever, and you're not sure how to, you know, when something comes up or you're trying to talk to other people about it, it's like, okay, sure. You know, people think that you're like the weirdo of the family. So I, you know, like I said, I made this podcast to just bring people together to be able to talk openly without being judged or being scrutinized against. But you're able to come to the platform and be able to talk openly here, or discuss topics that, you know, like I said myself, I find very interesting and very knowledge based subject. Because you have to remember, there is nothing that has happened now or in history that cannot be validified at any time. If UFOs are real, then aliens are real. And if aliens are real, then that means that there's other life in space. We are not the only ones. If time travel is real, that means that, are we seeing people or beings that have come from other places that are visiting us? Are these what these interdimensional beings are? They're able to traverse through space and time and have guided us in the past, that have come through and shared knowledge and shared wisdom with our ancestors. If there are things that defy logic, cryptids, life after death, spiritualism, anything you could think of that is described as being fake or folklore, I think all of this stuff is based in truth. I believe that our history is not what we have been told. I believe that things are being covered up and lied to about constantly. And I think it's done to keep those who are in power, in those seats of power, or in that control, and to keep everybody slaves to the system. And as I said, that's why I started this podcast, was to dive into a lot of this insight, to bring insight to a lot of this stuff that we talk about, that I talk about on here. And it's been a while coming. I used to get on every Friday. It'd be every Friday at 7 o'clock. I think I'm going to need to get back on that. But it just started dying down because I wasn't getting a lot of interaction between the viewers and stuff, and it was far and few between. But I need to just keep sharing stuff and keep getting on here and just keep building, audience interactions. But I appreciate everybody who has been coming along on this ride and this journey with me for, oh man, it's going to be a year. Wow, time flies. But as I said, it is one of those things where, this thing of these theories, and I hate using the conspiracy theory. That's my biggest word. I hate saying it. I hate it when people say things like that to me when I'm discussing it to them. Oh, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, sorry to bust your bubble, but it seems like every one of your so-called conspiracies that we've talked about or have been discussing has been debunked. Why? It's because the reality of what's been going on and the things that have been happening, more of the truth is coming out. Like this whole congressional hearing on these UFOs and these aliens. The one thing I don't like about it, and I don't care too much for, is that the fact that they keep telling everybody that these things are hostile, that they are wanting, that there's an existential threat to humanity because of them. I don't believe that that's true. As Dr. Steve stated earlier, Dr. Stephen Greer said himself, if these things wanted to hurt us, they wanted to do harm to us, what is stopping them from doing so? I think that is just a scare tactic that the government is trying to push the narrative on, because I think they're planning something. I think they are planning a fake UFO, fake alien invasion. I think it is going to happen soon. Dr. Stephen Greer has been talking about this for a long time, and those working with him have also said that the narrative that they are pushing is that the existential threat from outside worlds or outside creatures, such as alien or extraterrestrial, is the narrative that they're going to push. And I don't believe that that is true. I believe that these beings have been watching us. I mean, if they were the ones that, the Anunnaki were the ones who created human beings, why would they want to annihilate a planet that is so rich, that would benefit us as being a partner in this universe, in this Starfleet, in this cosmic alliance? That they would be able to benefit from an alliance with humanity. I don't foresee it being something where it's going to be, a threat to us. I think if it does come down to a threat, I think it's something that's reverse engineered, or it's man-made. But as I said, I think these interdimensional beings, could it be, back on topic, I think these interdimensional beings, or these beings that are multidimensional, we get glimpses of these beings or these things that come through the dimensional planes, either by us tapping into it frequency-wise, meditation, sitting down and meditating and focusing our vibration, our energy into it, or it happens to come through because we are open to the sensitivity, that we are picking up in tunement with these beings or these entities or these things that are coming through, that we're able to see because we're on that same frequency, and we're able to visually see them or experience them because we are opening up our minds and our bodies to it. Or there is a reason why certain people are being in tuned to being able to see or experience these things, is because they're awakening. They're being unplugged from this matrix system that we all have been born into. And I think once you start breaking away from that matrix system, the multidimensional aspect of things becomes more enlightenment and more knowledgeable to those of us who have experienced or have broken free from that aspect of this reality. And I hope that a lot more people start becoming more elevated and more aware of that notion, and we are able to collectively as human beings break free from the bonds that are keeping us held down. Let me see here. I don't see anything. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. Is anybody trying to come through at all? I don't see anybody. Yeah, I think I got like over 500 followers, and I don't think anybody's been trying to come through. But yeah, I mean, if you guys got questions or anything you guys want to ask, please feel free to get on here and chat. And again, Steve Crabtree, thank you for getting on and sharing from Wichita, Kansas. Appreciate you, man, for the support. Awesome stuff. Thank you for getting the word out. Share it with your friends, your family members, people who are of a like mind, people who are thinking or have the notion of thinking about these types of things. If they are not sure that, they've been thinking about it, have them get on here. Let me know. We'll get them hooked up. We'll get them set on the right path. And spreading the word and the enlightenment, getting it out there to everybody, that's what we want. Is we want to be able to awaken everybody to the notion that not everything that we have been told is the truth, and there's more to this world than what we have been told, and the truth is not what we know it is. I think that the more that people get out there and they see this, and they are aware of it, I think there are a lot of people who are not going to be open and receptive to it for whatever reason. I don't know. It's because their minds they're not capable of breaking free from that. I don't think that they are able to comprehend or even just split the notion that it's like the movie The Matrix, exactly the way it is. There's people that are just planted in here and they're just stuck. And they just do not want to break free from that. And they are the Agent Smiths of the Matrix. And they are the ones who will turn on you in a heartbeat and turn you in, pretty much, you know. And they are the ones that are telling you, you know, you're crazy, you're stupid, you know, how in the heck did you think about that? You know, religion is the only way, it's the only answer. And you know, they're the ones that are stuck in that matrix mindset, while a lot of us are breaking those chains on our minds and our spirit of that bondage that has kept us in that system. So, you know, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's come along. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been on this journey with me since last December. We're coming up on a year on the 23rd. And welcome. Share with your friends, share with your family, and get the word out about this podcast. And, you know, have them come on and share their ideas, share their thoughts on subjects that they are feeling talk about. I mean, I keep telling everybody, you know, let me know what you guys want to talk about. Let me know what you guys want to say, and we'll talk about it. We'll bring it up on the podcast for sure. And anybody that wants to get on and have a discussion, let's do it. On past episodes, I've had friends from the military that I've had come on, and I've had friends that have had their own experiences of things that we've been talking about on the podcast come on and talk about. I've reached out to other people that have, you know, contacted me and said, hey man, you know, I've experienced this, or I've witnessed this, or, you know, I have questions about this, and you know, I'm still waiting to hear back from them. But like I said, you know, this place that is for everybody who wants to be able to openly discuss a lot of this stuff. And I'm just grateful that I've been able to talk to and been able to experience like-minded people who are able to come out and just share their opinions and share their thoughts on the subject matter of the unknown and being out of that matrix mindset. So I appreciate everybody. If anybody's got anything, I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes and see what's going on, see if anybody has anything else. I'm going to go take a break. I'll be right back. All right. All right. Well, like I said, anybody that's wanting to come on or wants to have the discussion on the podcast, you guys are more than welcome, more than free to, get a hold of me and let me know what's going on or what you would like to talk about. But yeah, like I said, I this whole thing about interdimensional beings, and the reality of what we as human beings are witnessing on a large scale now more than ever because of the technological advancements that we have. We are able to capture and experience these things in real time, a majority of the time anyway, because we are seeing that people are capturing it on their smart devices, their cameras, all over the world. And it's really cool to think that we have come this far now where it was down to the, the scribing down and writing down of of things on stones and papyrus and tablets that we, we are now able to experience this stuff in real time all over the world. And I just think it is really cool. And, I think we are heading towards an awakening far larger than anything we could have imagined. And what is going on? Let me see. I think that we are going to come of an age where the truth is going to be revealed. And when it does, I think it's going to blow a lot of people away. I think it is going to change the dynamics of religion on a level, world politics, just humanity in general, towards a time of reckoning, whether that be for global peace, unity through humanity, to be able to live and progress freely without the bonds and the restrictions that we have been living under for the past 1,000 years, of these people who have been keeping themselves in power and control. And I hope that day comes sooner than later, for kids and grandkids' sake. But like I said, I appreciate everybody for coming along on this journey. Thank you guys so much for being here. And if you guys have anything, please feel free to reach out to me on Seeker of the Unknown on Facebook. Reach out to me on YouTube. And forget that I am going to try and be back here on every Friday, and have the episodes coming out every Friday if I can. And I appreciate everybody that's been able to come along and join me on this journey. Oops. And who has been along on this journey for the past year. Like I said, it's crazy that it's been a year already. But yeah, we've got, this is episode 35, and we've been talking about a lot of stuff. It seems like my topic or my episode that I did, the Epic of Gilgamesh on, was really big. Everybody loved that that episode. I mean, I got like over, I think it was like 250 something views on that one. And I really like that topic because, that video of, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and the finding of his body or his tomb in Iran, and the video that came out of that, of him in his stasis sleep, in his stasis chamber, was really cool because, I mean, it really, like I said, it validified what we had known or what we had seen or heard of for hundreds of, thousands of years. And to be able to see it firsthand was really a shocker because it made it real. And if that is possible, what else out there is possible? I mean, what are the things that are being sold to us as folklore or as non-truths that is actually reality, based in reality? And I think, like I said, I mean, we have to question everything. We have to be able to look at everything and say, there's got to be truth based in this somewhere along the line. I mean, this is just something that is not fake. Somebody saw this, somebody experienced it, they witnessed it, they wrote it down for a reason, they shared it with each other for a reason. And that's the big kicker, is because it has to resonate with people that are of intrigue, like it is with me. And you have all these people, these researchers who are out there doing this work, this field work of going out there and looking at this stuff and saying, you got the Graham Hancocks, the Billy Carsons, and the Gen 6 team, and True Legends team, the Gaia, the people at Gaia, and all these people who have gone out there to look and investigate this stuff and go out into the field and research this stuff, that have the ability to do that and pass this information on a global scale. It's really, really been an eye-opener for a lot of people who are coming out. And like I said myself, I mean, I've been looking into this stuff for a long time, but now with the technological advancements of information and being able to get it out, it's a lot broader than just going down to your local library and checking out a book. We are able to, see the firsthand research that they have done and they have put out on, the internet for people to see and witness and experience it themselves. I think is a very, very huge leap in progression and in the awakening of people and getting their mind open to the information and the knowledge that is out there. And as I said, for me, it has been a life-changing ordeal that has really helped me understand personally that everything that I've known, everything that I've been told, everything that I've thought was the truth has just been shattered. Because the notions of everything that, religious wise, life wise, being told these things that aren't real are actually real. These things could never have happened, or did happen. I mean, it has just broken down so many barriers, personally for me, and I'm very grateful that I have taken this leap to be able to think and look outside the box And it has helped me tremendously with progressing my further interest and knowledge into this subject matter. And I hope it does with you as well, to everybody out there that's watching this or is interested in this breaking free of the matrix. So if you're like me, like I said, come along on the journey. We'll find it out and experience it together. So till next time, I'm wishing everybody a safe weekend. Everybody be safe out there, and I hope everybody had a good holiday. And I will see you guys back next Friday. Same time, same place, and be safe, everybody. Talk to you later.